and create success stories. Delighting our customers by Srirekha Menon. A few words about the presenter. Srirekha Menon is a customer documentation developer at Nokia, Bangalore. Yay, Nokia. Srirekha Menon has more than 10 years of experience in technical writing. She has worked in various verticals of IT industry like telecommunication, networking, and industrial and manufacturing to produce user documentation. In her current role, she works as optical network management and control software in close interaction with R&D. She also plays a key role in planning and strategizing the rich media delivery. She is a key contributor to all the enhancements and best practices followed in the Nokia projects. She has received many accolades and appreciations for her involvements in these activities. Her hobbies include reading books, traveling, and listening to music. Over to you, Srirekha.
Thank you, Tina. A very good afternoon to all of you. I am Srirekha Menon from the customer documentation team of Nokia, and today I'll be talking about how to overcome difficulties and create success stories. This is basically a customer engagement story. So I would like to put across to you a question. Have you ever got a chance to meet your customers real time? I'm not talking about the CSAT survey or the bug tracking tool or your customer engagement story and all that. Have you met them in their premises real time? No, is it? Okay, so in my presentation today, I will be talking about how essential it is to meet your customers, know about their requirements, and why it is important for us to develop a better documentation when you meet your customers. Let me just ask you a simple question. Who reads our documentation? I'm sure as technical writers, often you would have, I have come across many relatives asking me, who reads all the things that you write? I'm sure you would have also come across that question, right? Who reads our documentation? Yeah, so do the customers really use our documentation in an effective way? Have you ever tried to find out that part of it? I'm sure as technical writers, we are supposed to know our target audience. But how well do we know them? And how do we know whether they are using our documentation effectively? Pardon? Yeah, so as technical writers, we are supposed to step into the shoes of the writers, supposed to step into the shoes of the users and then write the documentation, correct? But are we really doing that? Because we are so engrossed with the process of peer review, technical review, and getting an approval from our product manager, we are so busy churning out the feature documentation that we forget to step into the shoes of the user most of the times. So, Nokia solicits customer feedback and it encourages us to engage with the customers. And we from the documentation team had a chance to meet the customers along with the customer facing team. When we went to meet them, we already had certain enhancements in place. We had an online help or nothing but a on-product documentation with an efficient search functionality. We had interactive graphics in place. We had also started working on a few videos by then. So during our interaction, when we were showing them our documentation, we were surprised to know that they did not even know that there is a documentation available for their product. Leave about the enhancements part of it. We were even more surprised or rather shocked to know that the customer facing teams, although they were aware that we are doing some kind of documentation, they were not aware about the vast documentation set that we are providing to the customers, nor were they aware about the new enhancements that we are doing and enhancing the documentation. So we decided to bridge the gap between the customer facing team and the documentation team. We decided to understand our customers and cater to their needs. So how did we do that? When we met them, we had to take them through the various access points to the documentation. That is the documentation center, the on-product documentation. We also showed them the various enhancements that we have been doing, which is for their use. And we also try to understand what their requirements are, what are their pain points, and what do they usually use in their day-to-day activities. And when we showed them the interactive graphics and the videos, we got to know that they were more interested in an interactive medium of communication. So we decided to cache it on the videos. Before we started this journey of making our customers aware and making the customer-facing team know about what we are doing, there were many challenges that I had come across. So first was to create the documentation awareness. As technical writers, we cannot meet the customers as often as does a customer-facing team or a salesperson does. So what mechanism we have to use to create the awareness to the customers and the customer-facing team? We have to either educate the product team and the customer-facing team and let the customers know what we are doing. We needed constant engagement with the customer-facing teams. So most of the times it is not necessary that the customer engagement team are co-located with you. And for them, documentation is at a very low priority. They will not give time to you to understand what you are doing and what you want to tell them. So it's difficult to engage with them. You have to convince them and tell them, hey buddy, I'm doing this. I want your time for this. And basically, we have to blow our own trumpet, what we are doing. So for that, we need the support from the program managers, product managers, customer-facing team, and the customers equally. Convincing the stakeholders on the wow factor of the videos was another challenging task. As we all know, we get used to certain format, we like our age-old practices. I'm sure as technical writers, although we have moved to HTML and other rich media deliverables, we still prefer our age-old PDF. Adobe Acrobat is our friend even today, right? So that is the case with the product team as well. They would always prefer seeing what they were used to seeing. So we had to go to them with a prototype and show them that they can get what they see. And convincing them on the right audio and video editing tool was also a big challenge for us. We also had to convince them on the delivery mechanism because we were planning for end-to-end provisioning scenarios for many of the complicated scenarios, and we wanted to let them know that this will be embedded in the product. So there will be a space issue when the product is released to the customers. So that is something we had to convince them on. When we started working on the videos, and when we met the customers, we understood that they were more interested in complicated provisioning and configuration procedures. So some of them were not for that particular release. They wanted scenarios which were supported for previous releases. So getting a server with backward compatibility was a challenge for us. And when we are working on the current features, getting all the features in the server without any bugs much earlier in the release is a challenge, and that still remains a challenge for us. We work on a very dynamic user interface which evolves in every release. In every release, we have something new to look in the user interface. So it is this change in the user interface is not only a challenge for the video development, but it is also a challenge for the user documentation where we need to update the screen captures and the procedures in every release. For video, it is more of a challenge because it involves a lot of effort and time, syncing the audio and the video, coming up with a script, review, everything. So in due course, we could face these challenges, we could overcome these challenges and move on. And how did we create documentation awareness in customers and customer-facing team? We had to come up with a more practical approach which they can understand, and so that whatever we want to achieve can be achieved. So how did we create the documentation awareness? We came up with a documentation overview video. So this video is shared across to the customers, the customer-facing team, and the product team as well. This video takes you through the different formats that we support in our documentation. We also take them through the different access points to the documentation, like our documentation center, the on-product documentation. We also show in the video the different enhancements that we are doing in the current release. So this is like a live video. Every release we update this video and send it across and share it with the customer so that they know what we have done over these releases. We have started involving customer-facing teams in our planning and review cycle. So when we get a use case or a scenario for a video or any new enhancement, we go to the customer-facing team and check with them whether these use cases and scenarios are applicable for most of the users, because we could meet only a couple of customers when we met them. But the customer-facing team must be meeting hundreds of customers in a year. So it was very necessary for us to get a unified scenario so that we can cater to more customers. We are also including them in the review cycle. So when we are done with a certain enhancement or any video development, we include them in the review cycle. And believe it or not, the perception that we get from the customer-facing team is very different from what we get from a development or a testing person. You get a very unified, wholesome idea about the feature, about any enhancement that you're doing. You will also get an idea about how the customers are going to look at that new enhancement or that new video. And then we decided to move from information creation to information experience. So let me just give you an example of a cookery recipe portal. So when you want to make a carrot halwa or a puran poli, you will search in the Google and you will get multiple results for that. When you click on any of those, you can see written procedure on how to make a puran poli, and you will also get a 3-minute video on how to make a puran poli. Which one would you prefer? A video or a 4-page written documentation? Definitely a video, right? Because you can see and understand and do it parallelly also if you want. So that is the experience that we decided to cash it on. So when I say information experience, let me just go back to my first question: who reads our documentation? User documentation is something, it is not something that you can read when you're going to take an afternoon nap. I'm sure no one will read a Samsung washing machine user manual when you're going to take an afternoon nap. So you use user documentation when you are working on the product and when you get stuck with something or you need further scenarios on that. That means you are looking for that information when you're working on the product. So it is very necessary that all your user documentation deliverables are embedded in the product. So what did we do to enhance that experience? Now we have request-based videos in the on-product documentation page. Along with that, we also have it hosted in a private Nokia YouTube channel as well as in the documentation center. So these videos are also accessible from the product page of our user interface. We have also come up with comprehensive workflows for complicated end-to-end provisioning scenarios. So as I've told you earlier, our user interface is such that which involves a lot of complicated provisioning procedures. For example, if you want to provision one, say procedure 1, you have to first procedure, you have to do configuration of A, B, C and D. Only then you will reach to procedure 1. So if any user wants to provision 1, he has to first go to A, B, C and D. So with these workflows provide a concise information about all that provisioning procedures. So if you look at the workflow, you will know what is happening in procedure A, B, C, D. so that you can provision one. And along in these workflows, we have some action boxes, and when you click on that in an HTML version, you can navigate to the respective procedure. We also have Help Center embedded in our documentation. It is a one-stop solution for all the network management products of Nokia, and it is, in Nokia, this is a new trend. It is also an HTML version of the documentation. This is also embedded in the product page. So when you launch into a product, we have a What's New pop-up coming up, and when you click on any particular item in the What's New pop-up, it navigates to the What's New page of the user documentation. And there are hyperlinks to the respective documentation in that page. You click on that and you're navigated to the relevant information. Then our on-product documentation or context-sensitive online help. So we have this integrated into our product with an efficient search functionality. You want any information, you can search for the information in the on-product documentation. And this on-product documentation also contains the user guides, operators guides, troubleshooting guides, and it also includes the hardware part of our documentation. To cater to the continuous integration and continuous delivery method, we have REST API in our on-product documentation page. And we also have a DevOps portal. The REST API is also supported on the DevOps portal. So if you want to know more about how we are working on the REST API, you can attend the next session by Ramya Umesh in track 3, hall 3. So as I told you, our user interface is enhanced and customized to include our user documentation deliverables. So let us see a quick video on how this is integrated in the product and how user-friendly it is. So this is our product page, and on the right side you can see the 3 dots. From there you can access the user manual, video tutorials, and the current screen help. Clicking on user manual, you can go to the library page of the on-product documentation, and the list of documents are available on the left side. When you click on that, the information will appear on the right-hand side of this. We can also navigate to the video tutorials page from our product launch page. So the videos are segregated based on the components, and you can have the video playing on the right-hand side. You can also zoom the video and view it. This is a What's New pop-up that appears in the on-product page. You click on the more information and you're navigated to the What's New page of our application. You can click on the hyperlink to go to the respective documentation. We also have the Help Center embedded in our product dashboard. You can click on the Help Center and you can go to the Help Center page. You can search for the documentation here for all the network management products. So this is, the REST API is also embedded in the on-product documentation page. We also have a DevOps portal for the REST API. So with that, true to the tagline of this STC session, ain't no stopping for us, we will make it happen. We have a long road ahead for us. So let's see what are those. We are planning to have repository for MOPs and videos in the product repository, so that the customers can access the MOPs as well as videos from a single location. We also are planning for an extensive glossary. So when these terms appear in the documentation in the HTML page, and when you mouse over that, it gives it gives a definition of that particular term. We have more requests pouring in for the new scenarios and new use cases which we are going to embed into the product. And as of now, we have close to 40 to 45 videos embedded in our product page. As I told you earlier, we are also supporting those in the Nokia YouTube channel as well as in the support portal or the documentation center. We have just started working on the augmented reality for the hardware part of the documentation. We are very early in the research for this enhancement, so I will not be able to reveal much information about this. We have also started working on the GIFs and chatbots. So GIFs, when you open an HTML procedure for any of the, when you open the HTML version for any of the procedure, along with your written content, the GIFs will be playing along with it. We have also started working on the chatbot. So we have just started with analysis of the QA maker and how we need to pull the content from, whether it will take it from the user documentation, etc. We have just started with analysis of that. With that, what are our continued plans to improve the customer experience? So Nokia supports customers with accurate and relevant information, and it encourages us to engage with the customers, as I told before. And we from the documentation team are doing a little bit so that we can help our customers get the right information at the right time. We are also adapting to the new trends and technologies that is available in the market so that it can be more user-friendly and the customers are more happy about it. We are listening to our customers and planning our deliverables and enhancements according to it. And we are educating the customer-facing team so that we can reduce their effort of creating MOPs. So now we have less number of MOPs being created, and we have the customer-facing team asking the customers to go and look for in the documentation, because we have a very good collaboration with the customer-facing team now with our new enhancements and the product pages. So what are our key takeaways? Just like Rome was not built in a day, all these enhancements did not happen overnight. It required a dedicated, hardworking team which had worked, they have burnt many a midnight candles to make this happen. And it was necessary for all of us to keep the best foot forward so that we come up with so many enhancements. All these enhancements have happened at least in a year's time. And we could see the best of teamwork and collaboration. So when I say collaboration, it is not only within the team, but it is also with the R&D. Because of constant discussions with the R&D, now the R&D is quite happy to provide us with the demos. They are very supportive with respect to the reviews, and they are very supportive when they have to give the right server to us without any bugs for the video creation. So there is a constant support from the R&D when we are coming up with these deliverables. That means they're understanding the importance of customer documentation in their product. And we have the senior product managers coming in when they see any new enhancements in any other product. We have them coming and telling us that there is something new that you can explore, please go and see that. So they are understanding the importance of customer documentation in our product. And we have a happy customer and a happy customer facing team and a happy product management and the project management team. So it has reached such a level that the product managers are using our how-to videos to show a demo to their customers. So it is mainly used as a marketing material to the customers, which gives us a big sense of achievement, and we feel good about it. So with that positive note, I end my presentation here. Do you have any questions?
What are MOPs?
MOPs are methods of procedures. So generally when the customers, they need any information, they contact the customer facing team, and customer facing team will be giving them with MOPs or method of procedures, it is called as. So it is already there in our documentation, but they were not aware about it and they used to give them MOPs. So now we are asking them to direct them to the user documentation.
Thank you so much for your session. It was amazing, and I just wanted to ask. Like making videos, it's like takes a lot of effort. Like
Yes.
creating a storyboard, then
Yes.
scripts,
Yes.
storyboard. Then you need to have a design team.
Yeah.
So it needs a collaboration efforts.
Yes.
So apart from the videos, is there any specific way to create awareness, documentation awareness in terms of digital platform?
Yeah.
In general, I'm asking.
I'm not aware about the digital platform, but we are asking the product team to include our enhancements in the customer release notes so that the customers are aware that we are doing such enhancements in the documentation. So that is one step other than videos that we are doing. Videos are not only to let the customers know that we are doing an enhancement, it is basically to take them through the complicated provisioning and the configuration procedures. So, I mean, when you see, as I told you earlier, when you see something, it's very easy for you to execute it. So, we are giving a how-to videos. It is, I mean, the product managers are using it as a marketing material is a different thing, but we are providing how-to videos for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
What type of content you are including in videos? Does customer requested?
No, we are also, other than customer requested videos, we also identify scenarios based on the new features that is the new features that are applicable for that current release. So the product managers are using that new features to market it to the customers.
Hi, when you're embedding the videos in the product, how do you manage storage? Because some of a product, the flash is less, right? So how do you use the storage space there?
Yeah, so as of now, we are in the process of looking for a way to compress our videos and put it in the on documentation. But as of now, it is part of our on product library page. So we have a folder where, I mean, including all the videos, we put it in the on product library page, and then we have an HTML page that I showed you in a video is an HTML page. From there, the videos are mapped to the HTML pages. So going forward, maybe we will have if we have more videos and it is difficult to accommodate in the product, then we may have to have it only in the documentation center or in a Nokia YouTube channel.
So yes, you're right actually. So what happened is I think now 40 videos is actually taking a lot of space. So in fact, we had to work with the R&D team to expand the size of where the product is installed also, because now the videos is taking up a lot of space. So we are now exploring the options of compressing the video without damaging the clarity of the video. And also we are looking at other places where we could host it. So that's also something we are in discussion. Yeah, it is accesses through username and password.
So only for the customers or even for external people also?
No, not for external. It
Only
is
for the customers.
private and closed channel.
Customers. So we will be sharing the credentials with the customer and they can access the videos.
And for the request of videos, you have a kind of a requisition form there, or?
No, generally we have a discussion.
Yeah, this comes back from the PLM, right? Product managers. They come back with requests for video, then customer facing teams to bring back the request. Like for example, they would have said, Bharti is our customer. Bharti is having issues in, logging in and configuring this particular NE. Can you, help us create this kind of videos or scenarios for this? Then we sit, we think, okay, how do we go about it? Then the steps that is involved in that happens.
Okay. So the request comes from the PLM, not directly from...
Mostly it is now the PLM, there is the product managers and the customer facing teams who are actually working with us closely to get the use cases actually. So that is, and it is working out well actually. More than the development and the testing team, we find that these guys, they have more knowledge on what the customer actually uses and what is it that's a pain point for them. So there is also a huge cost reduction that is happening, the reduction in tickets and less MOPs being created. So it's a kind of a success story we would want to say in a year's time,
And what are the tools you use for creating the videos?
Camtasia.
Camtasia.
And we use Natural Reader for text to voice conversion.
Good. Thanks. Yeah.
Any other questions? So if you have any further questions, you can reach out
Yes,
to
I
me.
have.
Yeah.
Actually, for customer satisfaction, the major thing is resolving the customer's feedback.
Yes.
So is there a tool you use for getting customers' feedback, and how do you track those and progress?
Yeah, so in our HTML pages, we have an option where the customer can enter their feedback. And every page, they will have that option. Other than that, if there are any problems, they will raise a ticket and we'll get to know. But in the past 1 year, there has been less number of bugs that has been mapped to the customer documentation.
Thank you.
If you want any
More
further
questions?
you can reach out to me at Srirekha Menon at Nokia.com if you want any further clarifications offline. Thank you.
Thank you, Srirekha, for showing us how to make noise in the R&D. Small token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 5 minutes if you would like to change the tracks and let new people come in.